Hello, everyone. I'm John, and this is
Christopher.
Yes, and we're doing something new here.
Yes.
We are going to be taking a look at VeggieTales. So to start with, what do you know about VeggieTales?
I grew up watching VeggieTales. My dad said the first VeggieTales episode we had was Esther, so I grew up watching most all of the episodes growing up. There's one or two I haven't seen. I've probably seen them all. I love VeggieTales. It's funny. I feel like that's kind of the main thing. I need my source of humor. But, it's great stories for children most of the time.
Yeah. I as well. I grew up on VeggieTales. It was, for me, it was humor, just the stories that they tell, good lessons, plus retellings of the Bible in vegetable format. And so it was pretty interesting. I know that I grew up as a missionary kid over in Paraguay for 10 years. And during that time, we had a vacation Bible school inspired by VeggieTales. So we had VeggieTale-themed T-shirts of like Larry. It's a green shirt with just his face, then a red shirt with just Bob's face. And that was great. It was fun. And it was all themed based off of VeggieTales. We had VeggieTale plushes. Oh, I remember those things. I don't know. I could still have some of those. I don't remember. But yeah, those were fun times. Great. And so yeah, today we decided, you know what? It's nostalgic. We haven't really watched VeggieTales in a long time. Me, very much so.
And some of the older episodes I haven't seen for a long while.
Yeah, the older episodes, especially the very first episode, like I have not seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. I'm very familiar with the story and the episode itself visually, but I don't remember much of it. And so yeah, we decided, it'd be fun, just the two of us, to rewatch the episodes and just give us our opinion about how the episode is. Does it follow things in a nice way? So yeah,
looking at it from like guys who are in their 20s, you're in your 20s, right?
I'm in my 20s.
Isn't that ridiculous? Early 20s, time flies. But looking back at something nostalgic and just seeing how we think things hold up. Similar to you, like I haven't seen this episode for a while, but also like my dad didn't like the first part of this, so I honestly barely saw the first part growing up. So I saw the second part. Yeah, more or less. So
I see.
So,
do you know any behind the scenes leading into this episode?
So I read Phil Vischer's book, Me, Myself, and Bob, and he there's like a whole chapter kind of like dedicated towards the making of this and like time commitments and like him trying to like get money from people and that not working out, and like how they like barely slept near the end of making this because they had a deadline to make. So quite a bit. I personally love behind the scenes stuff, so probably honestly tonight I'm probably gonna read through like a wiki page about this.
Nice.
I'm probably gonna even see if I can find a commentary on it because I love finding out behind the scenes stuff in relation to this.
Yeah,
these things.
Especially, wasn't this series helped develop CGI and cartoons, I think.
I would believe so, but
especially
this was before Toy Story.
Yeah, this was in 1993, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, probably around the same time.
Toy Story was 95, right?
I don't remember.
Oh, John.
Hey, it could have been 93 or 95. I don't.
But it's not. But Pixar has been making some CGI things prior, though.
Yes, but this, it's a big step.
Definitely.
A TV show, which there have been a lot of TV shows in the 90s.
Well, no, it was a direct-to-video first.
True, but this saying, a lot of work was put into this. Mm-hmm. The CGI, while mostly is not aged the best, definitely not. But
Toy Story looks so much better.
True.
Like, I saw Toy Story for the first time a couple months ago, and I was impressed, honestly.
True. And so, yeah, but anyway, they still have some decent animation done here.
I mean, it's better than I can do. That's what I say.
True. So why don't we get started here?
Okay, so I guess we'll talk about the first episode, or
Yes, the first episode.
the first part of this first episode.
Yeah. Where's God when I'm scared?
Where's that from? I'm scared. That was not planned.
There's a high-pitched noise.
Anyways, so are we... I guess we'll just talk about the countertop at the beginning first. I thought we were just going to jump into Tales of CRISPR, but I guess we'll talk about the countertop first.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts about the countertop?
That noise is so distracting.
It is.
The countertop scene. Well, first it starts with the opening intro.
The theme song.
Yes, the theme
Classic
song.
theme song. Which, so one thing I thought was very interesting about
Yeah.
the theme song is just how long it is. Which typically today, they try not to have super long, theme songs.
Unless you're HBO or something.
I mean, I don't watch HBO.
Unless, I don't know, unless you're HBO, Netflix, or just other networks that have intros.
I mean, it's a classic theme song, though. I wonder what it would have originally looked like, though, because the version of Where's God When I'm Scared was like a 98 reissue.
Yeah, because, we're watching a later version, and, I don't remember seeing a lot of those clips when I first watched it. I remember there being less clips, and so I'm not entirely sure what the difference is, but...
Well, I mean, it's obvious that they had clips of later episodes
that
had to be included later on.
It's curious, what would the intro have been back in 93?
Yeah.
There's probably a video out there.
There probably is.
I don't want to look it up right now, but there probably is. So yeah, the opening, classic VeggieTales.
Classic. You want to hop into the countertop, I guess?
Yes, the countertop. What about the countertop? That's, those are the bookends of the episodes, where you start and finish the episode in the same place. You're introducing the story that's going to be told. And we're introduced to the characters of Bob the Tomato and Larry the Cucumber.
You had to think about that.
I did.
Anyways, I mean, obviously, for the diehard VeggieTales fans, it's just crazy how Larry's voice was so different.
It is, yeah. I wrote that down. Larry's voice definitely evolved. It's very curious when you watch shows and, you're familiar with a voice actor's work later on, and you go back to the beginning. It's like, what?
Yeah.
So Larry sounds completely different. You can hear him in that voice, but it's not quite there.
Right.
It's more of a cartoonish, stereotypical, oh, hey, boys and girls.
Yeah, Bob. What do I do?
Okay, well, how about this? You play the guitar.
Bob, I don't have any hands.
Yeah, Bob. What do I do?
Let's see. I know. You play the guitar.
Bob, I don't have any hands.
I'm really glad he evolved the way he did. Because honestly, I cannot imagine if Larry stayed like that.
No. Bob is very consistent, though.
Very, very consistent, and I feel like the voice really fits him.
Yeah. Going back to the opening, I was very... I never actually really paid attention to the lyrics.
The theme song?
Yeah. It's if you like to talk to tomatoes and dance around the produce aisle with... What? I've heard I've heard the theme song forever, but I never actually stopped and paid attention. What does this actually mean? This kid needs help. They're talking to tomatoes. They're dancing down the produce aisle.
I think they're trying to spark imagination.
I know, but it's still if this was an actual thing where the kids were actually doing, they're talking to tomatoes, you'd be very concerned. And back to the countertop.
I mean, I thought it was kind of just interesting, the big fat letter that Bob read from, because I think that was the only episode when they did that. Typically, Bob is pulled out a normal sized sheet of paper.
I didn't notice the letter.
When Bob read the letter from the kid, it was this huge, big, flowing.
Also, this is back when they still did letters.
But no, they had letters later on. But it was like,
I know, but like nowadays, we don't really use letters. We just email or just text.
But I'm saying like later on in VeggieTales, they had like for their size letters instead of. Yeah. I guess what they were trying to communicate there is that these veggies are small, and so that's what the actual size of paper would look like.
Yes,
for them.
And so I guess they changed it up later on. So that's neat.
It just looks interesting.
Yes. Anyway, we're really told that our theme for today, at least the first section, is being scared of the dark. That's what I got out of it. And so we're introduced into the first section.
The Tales of the Crisper.
Yes.
Which straight out, like I thought was interesting for both the episodes, though, is that it had the Big Idea Productions presents. I thought it was kind of interesting.
It feels like there were just 2 episodes that they combined into one, which I think, I don't know, from the beginning I'm getting this feel that that's how they're doing it, because they're both similar in theme. And what do you think the message is?
Don't eat chocolate bars before bed?
I don't know. That's not a bad idea, but I do like chocolate before bed.
I mean, both of them are about.
Yeah.
But.
They're about what? Chocolate in the bed? No, yeah. It's very clear the message is about you do not need to be afraid because God is bigger than your fear.
I mean, that's...
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of putting it. I mean, if we're talking about... I mean, like... Honestly, so, like, for me, like, I'm just really thinking about the episode itself. Like, is it okay we just jump into that?
Yes, let's jump into that.
Yeah, and then maybe talk about, like, the theme after. I think that's probably... Because, like, I feel like I want to dissect it and how it communicated the message.
Let's just do it.
Okay. So, like, the interaction with Junior and Bob and Larry was... awkward.
It really was awkward. Bob and Larry just jump into the story. It's like out of nowhere. What? We're there? Who are you? I'm Bob the Tomato.
Yeah. Like if you remember the Gort's Must Be Crazy episode from Are You My Neighbor? The I Can Be Your Friend episode.
I think so.
Okay, like we'll get to that. That's episode number 3. But I felt like that was a little more natural. Or, I mean, like, it was still interesting. Like it's not every day that a spaceship is going to visit your room. But it kind of felt, like, built for that compared to this where it feels just weirder.
It is really awkward, this first episode. Because they're still trying to figure out how they want to do this format.
And I almost wonder, like, to some degree, I'm almost like, how did they think this was a good idea? But at the same time, I'm glad it worked out.
At the same time, you have to look back that this was the 90s. And
True.
I could see this kind of style was popular.
I can't.
Yeah, you don't really watch much stuff.
He watches, like, older stuff.
I do.
And I just don't watch stuff.
I can see this kind of style coming in where you have the hero coming in to help the kids, teach a message.
The hero came in pretty early on.
Yeah, we got Franken-Celery.
Franken-Celery.
Which is a...
clever name.
A reference to Frankenstein.
Right.
I had to think there. Even though I wrote it down, I should have looked at that.
But I will say, despite the interaction being a little frustratingly awkward, some 5-year-olds are a little frustratingly awkward.
Yeah, I did really like... I was actually quite appalled. That's a strange word. Put back. It's like, wow, Junior is actually really young in this. Because I guess I thought he was older. Like, slightly older.
I mean, he acts older later on.
He later on, but as a kid, I just remember him being more my age type. Which I guess now, because we're older, and I'm looking at him and he's much younger, it's like...
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Honestly, he probably even could have passed for a 4-year-old.
That's what I thought. I was thinking like 4 or 5 years old.
I mean, he did say 5, but it just seems almost younger than 5. That's just.
I don't know how many 4-year-olds you know, but never mind. You do know a few.
I do.
Anyway, so then we're released to the song that God is bigger than Godzilla.
Or the monsters on TV.
Yes. Godzilla. I was actually quite surprised by that name drop.
You didn't remember that?
No, I don't remember like any lyrics or anything. Really, like I know the basic story.
Yeah.
Besides that, I don't remember many jokes that go on. So Godzilla.
the time when Larry's like, "Fear not, do not be afraid, for you will give birth." Like started to like do that Gabriel thing was funny. I did not remember that.
I didn't really catch what that was.
That was right at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I didn't catch what the joke was.
Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you.
Wrong story, Larry.
The fact that like an unexpected messenger like in the Bible is like an angel, and then Larry started quoting
all right,
that
thank you
passage.
for clarifying that for me, because
I thought it was funny.
I didn't get it when I first watched it, and I know that you got it because you laughed.
Yeah.
I clearly don't know my Bible. Anyway, so we were introduced to the song.
Mm-hmm.
We have Godzilla, which again was very popular in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
In America, because that was a big deal
Mm-hmm.
at that time. And of course, we're introduced to the actor from Toledo.
I love how Toledo's like name dropped in VeggieTales like several times throughout the series. It's funny.
Like, I wonder if like that's where they did this, or if there any of those people are from Toledo.
I don't think it was done in Toledo, but I mean, we could. I could probably look it up later.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
I guess this Toledo is just a fun thing to say.
It is a fun thing to say.
Yeah.
That's the fun thing about it. It's a fun thing to say.
Yeah, so that was interesting. The song, of course, was kind of...
I will say, I'm sorry, about the actor. Like, I kind of did like how they kind of incorporated, like, hey, kids, like, these are actors on TV.
Yeah, because
I liked that aspect.
I did. Like, what you're watching on TV, it's not real. It's it's a theater. It's fake. We got this actor from Toledo who walks around in costume all the time, it seems.
Or that's probably just who he is. But I will say though, that TV just
it's a movie.
Not
really.
Was it? Well, they
called it a TV show, but it's based off a movie.
I know it's based off a movie, but like just in general, the whole first episode skit thingy is just
it's really awkward.
Not just awkward, it's also scary. I mean, for a younger kid, you don't think so?
Slightly.
I mean, I know it's crudely done, but it's still scary.
The actor from Toledo was the scary part for me as a kid. I remember, like...
Well, I mean, just the beginning, that scene, like and
the painting, of course, coming to life. Of course, these are vegetables, and so they have to come up with creative way of using their bodies for humor.
Right, but it still was... I don't know, like... just in general, like, this whole episode, like, I am still in shock that this
you're in shock.
Like, this really got them to where they are. You know, I know this is just one footprint in the sand, right? It wasn't the isolated thing. It was part of a journey. But I'm still surprised that people liked this, honestly.
Yeah, and of course, Bob and Larry, they get into the message from the Bible, and they tell you God is bigger, which it's kind of blunt. Because they weren't at all like saying anything about that in the opening or intro. It's just all of a sudden, like, I know.
I mean, they were targeting Christian kids.
Yeah,
anyways.
I mean, I know that, like,
right.
Growing up, but if you were just to watch it, you wouldn't actually know until they're like, you know, God is bigger. It's like...
Honestly, in some cases, I'd even be surprised if some people even made it that far. Because the animation's a little crude. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like... I don't know how many people would be like, all right, I'm watching VeggieTales for the first time. Let's watch that.
Yeah, let's think about it, like, at that time. This is brand new.
True.
You're an adult. You're not a Christian. And, you know, they bring it up. It's like, okay... Well,
but also, why would you watch it as an adult?
Well, would you know that this was a Christian content?
Oh,
actually, no, you would, because it's the title. Where's God when I'm scared? Okay, well,
I do think that like the Tales of the CRISPR thing, like, they did have that title so they could present it to secular audiences, from what I saw. So
sure, and then of course. we have, of course, the dad and the son, and they're. I kind of felt like, I don't know. I'm viewing this from a modern perspective. Like the father isn't the one who's teaching the son about God.
You're saying you wish that was the case?
I wish that there was a bit more of the father being an actual fatherly figure and actually helping his son, teaching him about this lesson, than just the kid learned from these imaginary figures about God and all this, and dad's like, yeah, okay.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because, like, again, the parent figure is very important in a Christian home. Like, they should be the one who's constantly teaching them and helping them through this.
That's an interesting point.
It's a different perspective, which what they're doing here is fine, but I think that we can help build relationships here.
True. But I will say, despite that, like, I did like that setup of like, oh, Junior has a problem. Bob and Larry takes him on an adventure. Junior is transported back. He relays the message to Dad, and Dad is proud of Junior. Like, I think they only did that with the Gourds Must Be Crazy thingy.
True.
But like that, it's just a sweet concept in my opinion, because I do like Junior and his dad's interactions.
Yeah.
Like the good night, little mister. I love you too, big mister. Like, it's just such a sweet interaction in my opinion.
And of course, we're introduced to probably the most iconic things from VeggieTales is the silly song with Larry and the Water Buffalo. Kind of like an intermission between these two episodes. Not exactly related at all to the theme.
Which I think is the fun of it.
True.
Would you prefer it was related?
I don't know. As a kid, I loved them, of course. But it's like they're unrelated. They're more there to have a fun segment and learn a catchy song, which these songs are the catchiest.
Right. And in general, I love them, and I'm so glad that they did them. And it kind of shows the fact that it's okay to have some fun. It's okay, to break out of that shell or whatever. And yeah.
And then we go on to the second part of the episode, which is the retelling of Daniel in the Lion's Den, which is the main thing I really remember from VeggieTales, the recreation of biblical stories. And I really enjoy that.
This one it felt like when they're more direct retellings, as like they have made embellishments since... or with most of their Bible stories, like embellishing things, or
I mean, there was a lot of embellishing here in just their humor that they try and do.
In the humor, but like the story, like I mean, like with Josh and the Big Wall, you had a big slushy machine or something, right? We never had. You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Okay, but like here, it was like they didn't really add anything ridiculous. Right, we didn't have any weird elements. It was more just the humor that was
mainly the humor, the songs, of course. This is a musical. Everything is told through song, which they're not the greatest songs in the world.
They're fun. They're cute.
They're fine.
I mean, the What We're Gonna Do is kind of classic.
Yeah, there was a bit of a strange 3D humor that Larry did, where he just runs into the camera.
Yeah. That probably didn't translate well as a kid, but it's kind of funny. Kind of.
It's more funny as a kid.
You thought?
Yeah, it's definitely a product of its time, because if that were done today, it's like, that's not that great.
I feel like it could still be done today.
It could, but you need to pad it a bit. Give it a bit more setup than just he suddenly runs into the camera.
Very true.
But yeah, besides that, the story is mainly consistent. You get the main points, and then you have the glorious scene of the lion on him.
Yeah, honestly, like that is probably my favorite little humor bit of like the two scallions arguing about their puns about lion. It's pretty good.
It is.
It is.
It is.
It's like it's something that's stupid, but that's why it's funny.
It's stupidly clever.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
Play on words. Lying on them.
No, mine was funny. Yours was just goofy. Yeah. I thought that was probably my favorite. I mean, one of my favorite jokes.
Yeah, even though like they did, it wasn't exactly necessary because like they throw him down there, and like they just hold on their conversation. Like from Daniel's perspective, he's just looking up and just watching them as they're having this conversation, and the conversation just has nothing to do with anything. But it's still a funny joke.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
There were, I will say, like throughout. I mean the whole thing, but I mean like especially in the Daniel thing, as I more grew up on the Daniel story than the CRISPR story. Like just points of animation that I just thought were weird, like when the Skellions were dancing during the
and that's definitely one thing where like they have to try and give some movement to vegetables.
Yeah, like for example, like you can tell the difference between a person sitting still, like a video of a person sitting still, and a picture of a person sitting still, because for some reason, even with a video of a person sitting still, you can detect some motion.
Yeah, mainly the blurriness, the grainy part of the video. That's a dead giveaway that it's a video.
So I mean, like there are moments where like the Skellions are just like, and they move, and then I don't know, and also just the fact that like because there's Skellions at the bottom, like it's white. I think that also kind of weirded me out a little bit as a kid, because I'm like, why aren't they just straight green? So
yeah. Is there anything else you want to say about this?
I think it was interesting also like how Larry was kind of like a main character and a very righteous character, unlike some other episodes where I feel like he's like overly goofy. Like it's not to say like he's not had this type of role. I mean, you think like about Little Joe or Mo in The Big Exit, where he is the main character. But also, I find this interesting how, like, he is a main character, but he's only in, like, half the episode, where the episode seems to focus more on the Skellions and the King. And so it feels like, I don't know, it's just, I know it is the first episode, but it's really interesting seeing how, even though he's, like, a main character, it's almost like a secondary role. And so, obviously, there's humor still being developed, and the character is still being developed. But I thought like Larry, I don't know how to describe it, but just in a very interesting and different situation compared to what the future of VeggieTales would give us.
Yeah. And then we go on to the end bookend.
Yes.
Back on the countertop. Mm-hmm. This time with that computer.
QWERTY. The recipe thing is that's you. You didn't think it was funny?
I mean, you were watching me. I'm more focused on the episode itself.
That was part of the episode itself.
Sorry. Humor. Yeah.
I just also love like how the computer drooped. How sad it was.
Drooped.
It was so funny.
But yeah, but I think the song, of course, is a very iconic thing.
Iconic.
Yeah, iconic for VeggieTales to end with. And we have our verse of the day, which is Isaiah 41:10.
Oh, you actually wrote it down?
I wrote it down.
Okay.
What is it? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Trust in God, no fear.
Amen. I mean, so like, I guess we'll just talk about like overall, how do we feel like the episode communicated the message? If I'm to be honest, I feel like in some cases I feel like it would have made kids more scared than to be assured of their fears. I'll be honest. If it worked, awesome, but for some, I don't think it did.
I think I gave the message across very well because they bluntly told you this is the message, and I got it.
I mean, definitely for kids, sometimes you just have to be blunt.
Yes, and thematically I can see. It's about fear, and that God is bigger than your fear. Mm-hmm. And it's
and God is in control, and God will work things out, type thing.
Yes. He'll
well, okay, so that is, sorry, go on. I'll say my thing in a moment.
Shut the lion's mouth.
So there was one thing that Junior said in the CRISPR thing. He said, and I quote, "God is on my team," and I thought that was a very interesting line. Where I don't think I don't think Bob mentioned anything about team, and then that's what Junior said. And I think it was Abraham Lincoln. He said I'm more concerned if we're on God's side, which you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of part of trying to figure out God's will for our lives. It's like, all right, God, some people are like, you fit into my plans, but no, we should be more like, no, I fit into your plans. Again, it wasn't a central part of the episode. The episode wasn't about being on about God being on our team. Yeah. It was a very minor thing, but still something I thought was interesting.
Yeah. And like we already said that the recreation of the story told it pretty well. Not 100%. Clearly there weren't vegetables talking at that time. I don't think they had pizza.
Thanks for the pizza.
Yes, I don't think that they sang all their stuff.
Musicals have always kind of weirded me out a little bit because it's like, all right, how does everyone know to sing like on time or whatever?
True.
But that's part of the whole entertainment
but
thing.
The basic message and the general points, they got it. Nailed it. Great.
I mean, that's your opinion. I feel like just the storytelling was just scary enough that it would have scared some people.
I don't care about the scariness.
Why not?
Because this is about Jesus. And I don't know.
That's just... I just feel like... Because that's another thing. Like, I'm no longer a kid, so I cannot think of this from the perspective of a kid. Right? But...
I mean, unless you just think real back in your memory.
In my memory.
In your memory.
Is that easy to do? Not always.
Unless it's... depends.
I don't know. I just felt like for kids... then again, I probably was more scared watching things than you were growing up. So...
Anyway, do you think this holds up well?
I feel like it's better as a nostalgia piece than... Because again, like if someone would say, oh, I want to watch VeggieTales, I'm going to start from the beginning, this episode might discourage them. So in some ways it doesn't. In other way, but it's a nice nostalgia piece to see where VeggieTales came from.
I think it holds up as an educational piece. Like if you were to play these episodes in like small groups, like small church groups for a younger audience.
With the youth group, like the young adults in college, they would definitely benefit from this and no longer be scared of their biology exams. I think this would help them a lot.
True. Sure it would. But yeah, hey, if you're on Awanas and you just want to watch an episode of VeggieTales, go ahead and do it. Kids will love it.
Maybe. Have you met a kid who doesn't like VeggieTales? Because I know there are some people who don't like VeggieTales.
I don't know. I don't think, no.
All right, I guess we'll ask, do you like VeggieTales? Do you like this episode? We do want to hear your thoughts. If you do want to share, we are curious. But yeah, I guess join us next time as we'll watch the next episode. Or is there anything else that you wanted to say?
I don't know. No.
The next episode, God wants me for again. Anyways, but yeah, we thank you guys for watching.
Yes, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye. Crap. It should have been on time.